So I prepared for you a few questions, mainly about your film. I tried to be more creative with them, but if you already answered these kind of questions, it's no worries. I can accept that. But these are my questions that I try to
Darling, don't worry.
ask.
It's your questions, and I'll answer your questions. Don't
Okay,
worry.
thank you so much. Thank you. So the first question I wanted to ask is, I really like your approach to using your own family history and combining it with global and political events. What was the initial idea that made you want to turn your personal story into a film, and how did that deep personal involvement influence your approach to the project as a storyteller, I guess?
Yeah. It's I tried to say I was actually desperate to try to explain to the Netherlands, to Dutch audience in the first place, and then generally, because
Hmm.
Netherlands is not really different than what's happening elsewhere in Europe or in the world. So I tried to tell them something they don't want to hear. So what's the
Hmm.
best way to tell that kind of message? So I was trying to, and this is my third personal film, and I've learned from experience before that these kind of personal messages, when you go really deep inside of yourself, this is where you reach other people. This is where we are all actually very similar. We pretend, we do very differently, but deep inside we all the same. So what I did, what I tried to do is I wanted to reach out in my experience, if you want to say the credibility of having learned what I have learned in the war of form in the war in former Yugoslavia, and to kind of to try to tell them that it's the patterns as much as you like to believe that you are different, that's not going to happen here, and that Netherlands is very special. I want to try to explain that it's you're just people, and then that we are, as hard as both of you and I and everyone, we're trying to pretend to be very to do the best out of our own life. The life is being led one or another way through the bigger circumstances. You know that Herodotus said 2,500 years ago, circumstances rule the man, man doesn't rule the circumstances. And then within these small circumstances, we can do something, but these bigger ones, they are the ones that really make the big, big turns. And then to try to kind of bring that awareness to be able to make these small things that we can do a little bit bigger. Like kind of trying to have an influence. And then I thought if I dig into my own personal life, that's how I can reach to the others. And that because the news is a really important part of how our opinion gets formed and how we get world to us. I thought it's very, very important also to pay attention to that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Um, my second question would be that your son appears in the film and felt like representing a new generation growing up in a different cultural context than your own. Do you feel that your own trauma and experiences have influenced his growth as an individual in either a positive or a negative way?
Of course it does. I mean, whatever your parents went through, it influenced them and they influence everything they do in life. And because the children are the most important thing in our lives, it's you spend the most energy and time. So of course he's influenced, and both in a good and in a bad. It's not, you can't separate it. I think in some ways I gave him much more awareness of certain things that he wouldn't get, but I maybe also brought him my fears,
Mm.
which is as a parent you try not to. Uh, but I hope I also gave him the tools to fight those fears. But we do talk about it, and we also since he was small, I tried to explain that my view has to do with. And I tried to put it in a film as well. If you remember, there was this scene when there are elections, and he's kind of almost trying to calm me down. He's like, "But mom, your vote is not going to change anything." So I asked him, so do you mean that I shouldn't, this is the attitude we should have? He said, no, it's not attitude we should have, but this is the fact. Your vote won't change anything. So I asked him, do you say that to calm me down? I said, yeah, I do. So, there is this interwoven thing. We may try interwoven thing between parent and child, and
Hmm.
where is this going? So yeah, of course it influenced him. But the thing is, just like with politics, the most important thing is to be aware of it and then to try to see in what way can we make the best out of it. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be very bad. It doesn't have to be. It can be really good as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Um, for my next question, as someone who has lived in two places for more than 20 years and was, in a sense, severed from your homeland, how did physical and emotional distance influence the way you portray Sarajevo and your own memories?
Almost I was 22 when I left when I came to the Netherlands, 21 when I left Sarajevo. These are such a forming years, it's a
Mm,
weird thing. This is my life here in Amsterdam. So about this Yugoslavia Sarah thing, it's something that it's these first years they form you. It has to do with so many things, and more I learn about life and about the world, and longer I live in the West, more I realize how amazing Yugoslavia was, and what a great thing, and what a shame it is it fell apart. So it all influences, it first influenced me what I lived in. That's what made me who I am in so
mm,
many ways, the basis of who I am. And then the war and everything made me go all different ways of realizing what was Yugoslavia. Was it really okay? Was it not okay? Was it already is existing? Went through very different trying to explain to myself to be able to live, to explain to myself what happened there. But then in the course of time, I also realized more I'm realizing that this is my home. Actually, I started realizing the Netherlands is my home from the moment when I started realizing I could lose it. Before that, I was like kind of, a foreigner, and I liked
mm,
being a foreigner. Uh, and only later I started realizing, like, wow, I could lose this home. So this is really, really important to me. But more I'm realizing this is a home, more I'm appreciating that other home that existed and it's not there anymore and it's gone forever, obviously. Uh, so I can put this both in so it's not only the what where I lived, but also the time after that influenced how I look at everything generally about the life, the world, but especially here in the Netherlands.
mm.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
the
yeah. It's yeah, yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Um, The next one is about the concept of home because your film basically reflects on what home means after being forced to leave it. To me, it felt that by the end you hadn't fully found the answer to that question. How do you think the experiences of displacement shapes a person's sense of identity and belonging? And can you get the feeling of home eventually? Because from your previous answer, I felt like you actually found it.
Mm. I found it, but it's never home as I was hoping it will be,
Mm,
as I assumed it will be. Now, if anyone would ask me advice, should I leave my home? I would say don't, unless it's absolutely necessary, unless you have a gun at your head.
mm,
I think it's not a solution. It's so much trickier than people imagine. People are upset about what they have at home, but you have to fight for that at home to be changed, not to leave, because it's not a solution. That's how I think after all these years. So in many ways, the home gets found by itself. It's just it happens. But it's changing and moving, and it's not as understood as I thought it will be. When I was growing up in Sarajevo, I thought this is home, this is what it is. I never thought about home. When you start thinking about home, you don't have one. It's the home is home. You don't doubt it. You may be upset, you may hate it, you may spit at it, you may be really, really upset, but you don't doubt is it your home. You only start doubting that when you're not at home.
Mm,
And this is what happens to people that get displaced. And now I am upset with this home, and it's really upsetting me, and I'm really working very hard on it, but to make it better. But this is my home, and it's for me different than it is for other Dutch people that have been, the parents and grandparents and everyone was born here and they grew up here. But in some ways, I think I'm maybe even more home than they are because I made it. I made it my home. It's my own doing of making it mine, and they take it for granted.
mm.
But I think they feel bad about it,
Okay,
and I envy them. It's good. It's really good, that feeling to be at home and to be upset about your home, and but not to doubt it.
okay. Thank you. My last two questions about the political charge of the film, basically, because the film feels both intimate and politically aware. You don't shy away from expressing your political opinions. We see you at rallies and having political discussions. How did you find the right tone between personal essay and social reflection without overpowering the other?
Mm. The biggest thing with personal films is you should never, this is my third film, personal film,
Hmm.
so I've kind of learned that. You should never try to show yourself as you wish to be because it doesn't translate. It's boring.
Mm,
Doesn't do anything. What it really does is when you go as close as possible, so there is as close as possible to what you really are. And it could be wrong. It could be ugly. It could be all of it. But this is the only thing that translates, that you can actually bring outside. So when you go so deep in your own thing, so it's for if you want for that, it's that there's something else happening. Is that at one point you shouldn't think of the audience. You should really try to get as close as possible to you to be able to tell the story. But at the same time, uh, you have to be aware of the audience because my audience has to hear me
mm,
because my this film is really trying to I wanted to change something if you want. So I know very well Dutch, and I know whatever I say they're going to say to me, oh, it's your trauma. They keep on which is not weird, I'm not upset about it. They see me as a refugee, that's what it is. uh, but I can't be upset about it, it's this is the fact. You can't be constantly, but I have to, I take that into account to be able to tell the story so they can hear me. So I'm trying to go into that feeling that
mm,
connects us all, that fragile, that insecure thing, helpless. I think I've had this, I don't know if you remember, there was this quote that I say in voiceover that Lydia's the more upset I am, the more radical thoughts I have, the more passive I act. And I
mm,
think this is what most people feel now. They're really, really upset, but it's like I don't know what to do about it. I can't handle it. So you have to get into that feeling in yourself to be able to translate it. And this comes from news. This comes from political things. It comes from all these things from outside that you're being taken over by. It's that feeling of not being, that this has nothing to do with you. They do as if they talk about you, but it has nothing to do with you. And you are
Mhm.
alone in your room and you're walking around back and forth, and it's like, where am I going to go? So deeper, so the only thing is just go deep to that thing of yours. Then don't worry, is it good or bad, or to be politically correct, or to be anything, to appeal to anyone. Go to that deep, deep thing, and with the idea that even if you disagree with me, at least you will understand that I am a human being, and you will understand that I'm really, really worried about this. This is the most important. This is really the most important thing that we need, that guided me, and I
Mhm.
believe it should be, one should be guided once they make personal film. And then you shouldn't worry about, is it because my producer, who doesn't like the film, and but okay, he was never involved in the film, so that
Mhm.
was okay. But he said, I described in a script that I'm going to have so much news archive, but he budgeted much less because he thought it's never going to work.
Mhm.
Because he thought it's never going to work. It's like, not to mention how ridiculous that is altogether, but he thought it just doesn't work. But it worked.
Yeah.
You can. So if you go that deep, you can do whatever you want. You shouldn't follow the rules, that there
Mhm.
are the rules, but the film is the feeling. You need to find a way to express yourself. And when you find that way, everything is possible.
Yeah. I agree with that one
Yeah.
100%.
You know? And the people
Yeah.
follow the rules like, oh, but it's not going to work. It doesn't work in a personal film. It will work. I'll make it
It'll
work.
work. Mhm.
But I need to get to that place.
Yeah. My last question is about the challenges. Like, as a filmmaker who has lived through war and exile, what challenges have you faced when trying to freely express your political or emotionally sensitive material?
The biggest thing, I live in the Netherlands. We like to believe here that we are very free,
Hmm.
and we keep on repeating it, which is another very worrying thing. When you keep on repeating you're free, uh, you should start worry about it, in my opinion. Uh, I am free to say whatever, so I don't have a problems as maybe some other places have, that I can't say things. Uh, but if you can't be heard, what does it matter what you say? It's a very different thing. I grew up in a place that was made against colonization. Yugoslavia is a South. Yugoslavia means South Slavs. So South Slavs would get together, not to be colonized. So not going to be this another power empire is going to come and conquer us. And I live in a place which has been conquering for centuries. One of the bigger and it's really very different attitude. It's a very different attitude, which, again, another thing, it has nothing to do with people, but they grew up in a place which called, and still they call golden age, time
Hmm.
where they destroyed so many nations and killed so many people for their own wealth. It's a very different, and you shouldn't be. I'm not upset with people about it, because this is what it is. But this is the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is to translate something, that to break through the premise. There is a premise that every nation has. These are the good guys or these are the bad guys. You guys may have the same premise. What they have here is
Hmm.
like, oh, the Russians are bad. Full stop. So, but whoever I would talk to longer, and it's like, it's really that simple. Can country that big be drawn back to just a political situation and then take only the bad parts of solution? Is it really bad? Are the Russians all bad? It's like, does it really work like that? Everyone will agree with me, it's not like that. But the premise is they are. So this is just an example. So how to break through it? Also, how to break through that that also Islam is a bad
Mhm.
feeling, you know. But the really deep feeling of a people here is that that is a backwards kind of thing, because what they see, but what they fail to see is that they created a certain situation in which some things are focused on that are not really the reality. So it's like in everything, though. So the biggest thing when you come in a completely different system is to break through their premises. But the amazing thing is, from having lived in a completely different system, is that I know that everything is a system. Yes, Yugoslavia was a system. Yes, absolutely. We were indoctrinated. But this is also indoctrination.
Mhm.
But the inherent on a situation that you live in a situation in your thing is that you don't feel that you're indoctrinated because everything in your past is showing that you're right. You may now be upset with Orban, but there are many more things that make Hungary who is Hungary, There is many
Mhm.
more things that you share with people. I don't know about you, but some people are against Orban and other people are pro-Orban. These are certain things, but there is so much more that connects you with
Mhm.
people, people pro or against. And then if someone comes from a completely different world, they see that, what connects you, because it doesn't connect them to you. And they can see that. And so it's the biggest challenge is to see that thing and then to challenge that, or to maybe to break through it. And is it? Because premises can be dangerous. Premises are important because you don't have to doubt every time, but it can also be dangerous. So
Mhm.
for me, that was really the biggest thing is how to break through this, colonial attitude of which is for so long, we gave up our colonies for now several decades, but it's not this. We didn't give up all the colonies, so there's some, that there's a whole thing there, but. How does that influence them? Because you perceive things through this collective memory or collective whatever it can be trauma, whatever. Look, Germany, they perceive the world through their collective trauma. But then it's only person from outside can get through to it. But you have to care, you have to really want to change something, you have to love the place. So you know, you need quite a few things to get together to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Is it clear? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's perfectly clear. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, that would be all that I wanted to ask of you. And I have another bonus question, maybe that's not directly connected to the film. That what is your next project? Is it also a personal essay kind of thing, or you went to another way?
After the first personal film, I said I'll never do the personal film again
Mm,
because it's. And then I made a
it
second
didn't
one.
work.
I will never do it again. So I'm saying now I'll never do it again, but don't trust me. I do believe I want to do something more about breaking these premises. So we're playing with some things on how to get through to that.
Mm, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear.